this is a truly historic occasion. It's almost, you know, a cliche, but it nevertheless is the case. The whole dramatic, the whole musical dramatic power of this work could well lie in a closet in fragments somewhere. And I think I was able to be here for part of it last night. I'll certainly be here tonight. And I found it an overwhelming experience. I couldn't even imagine the audiences not having this available. So I want to do a little background on my connection, both with Ellie Siegmeister, who was an old and dear friend, probably about the time I was first connecting with Leonard, but maybe a little before. He was a staunch supporter of my music, and a good friend. My wife Alice, my late wife Alice, and I made many trips to Great Neck to be with he and Hannah. And as I've often told people, it was like getting a shot in the arm of adrenaline or something to be with Ellie, because I'm rather low key and he was the opposite. And he also had made a visit up to Ithaca to our home at one time. So it was with a considerable bond already existing that Leonard came in '72 to us at Cornell. We'd had a doctoral musical arts program since '57, one of the first ones in the East. And it was very clear from hearing Leonard's music that he had a natural affinity for Blitzstein. However, he had his own voice, and what I always tried to do with my composition students was not, as some composers, notably Hindemith and others, to have copies of my own music. I tried to find each student's voice. I even went so far as to improvise in their styles. To try to say, all right, this phrase is a little too short, you know, why don't you just extend it so I could play easier than I could talk, and it seemed clearer. It seems that one of Leonard's operas, which was, I think, Carla, he did first opera, Idiots First, he was completing one that Blitzstein had already done part of. But Carla was his own opera. And one of the arias from that was so beautiful, I remember it stayed with me for quite some time. So I think the next thing really is to tell you about my connection with Blitzstein himself. I was fortunate enough to have a senior Fulbright grant to Italy. I was able to take my family to Rome for a year. And I had a second Guggenheim, which was primarily for travel, so I felt extremely fortunate. And I'm not sure that I knew Marc was there. It was unclear, but he did call me up. And he may have gotten my number through USIS, I'm not sure. And in Rome, on one of the main streets, in the piazza, whatever it was, we have it here. The Colonna, I think. It was the Colonna.
The Colonna. Lee and I visited Rome last summer. We visited the relatives of SACCO and Vanzetti and their birthplaces, and we looked up the place where you met him in Rome.
Yeah.
And we always took pictures of him.
So I had a very nice lunch with him, and he invited me up to his studio. And my major impression of him, before I talk about the music, was such a kind, gentle man. We immediately had an affinity because, I don't know, it's hard to explain, but it just was my impression of him. And he had just finished, I believe, Leonard says, the first complete, maybe the only complete scene, which was at Act 1, Scene 3.
That's right.
And he had it out there. And so he played some of it for me. We got to one place where it got impossible because
Michael knows that.
there were, I guess, chorus and 2 or 3 people. So what we did, I played a lot of four hands in my day. I used to play for conducting classes at the Eastman School. So I was playing the bass. He was playing his left hand was here and his right hand was here. And my right hand was over in between his two. That's how I remembered it. when Leonard showed me the scene, I said, yes, this has to be the one, because I remembered the physical setup of Right Before Our Hands.
Yeah, we had to revise it to get practical on this.
So, you know, we actually did finish playing that and told me more about what he was planning. And it was one of the greatest experiences of my life to meet such a person and to share music with him. And that's basically it.